Wow, was episode 93 of Dragon Ball Super packed to the brim with really interesting stuff. It also was a very good episode. Of course, we're talking about episode 93. You're the 10th warrior. Goku goes to see Frieza. So we have a lot of things that happen here. But first, I would just like to say, how about that Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla? Boom! There it was for show. No denying that. But let's just get straight into it because, again, there's really a lot of stuff to talk about here. Alright, so the beginning of this episode opens up with Goku giving a description of what exactly is going on with Frieza. Now, there's been some inconsistencies in depicting kind of the afterlife in Dragon Ball, and more specifically Hell, and kind of like the hell that Goku goes to in, like the anime fillers. We see Cell and Frieza and all them watching Goku vs. Kid Buu in Hell. There's been sort of some kind of inconsistencies and stuff, and then based on other moments where, so Piccolo is talking to Majin Vegeta right before Vegeta uses a final explosion and kills himself, and he asks if he'll be able to see Goku again. And Piccolo tells him, no, you've done really bad shit. You'll lose your body and your soul will be cleansed before you're reborn, into a new being. It's like the Buddhist religion or something like that Toriyama's kind of basing Dragon Ball on. And what Goku explains here kind of it connects that with the fact that Frieza is still just chilling in hell. Basically, Goku says that Dende told him that Frieza won't repent, and he's basically trapped in that earth hell until his soul is purified to cross over. And King Yama, or King Enma as it's called in the Japanese version, is really frustrated that Frieza is just sitting there refusing to repent. So this is what I've talked about before, where Dragon Ball Super, it's almost like the main existence of Dragon Ball Super is for two reasons. One, merchandise to sell toys, games, etc. Two, to cover up all of the kind of fringe plot holes that Toriyama created throughout the series. They go far out of their way to cover up stuff that, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't really need to be fixed. They didn't have... The reason they made the Vegito Patara earring retcon was probably so that, it wouldn't be like, oh, Vegito could beat Beerus. But you could also look at it that they wanted to fix that hole of why did Vegito defuse inside of Buu, and then they create, oh, well, the fusion only lasts an hour if you're immortal. So they're coming up with lots of things like this. So Goku tells this story to everyone, and Vegeta in particular is pissed. Listen, motherfucker, you're not using the Dragon Balls to resurrect that filth to become a team member. And Goku says, no, what he's going to do is he's going to have Baba bring Frieza back for 24 hours, like Baba has done for Goku and Vegeta in the past, which I predicted. I felt like that obviously was the way they were going to go here. Now, what I thought was really interesting, this was cool, is that Vegeta tells Goku, listen, we don't need Frieza. We can do it. We can win the Tournament of Power without Frieza. And Vegeta's kind of like, where's your usual overconfident self? We can win, right? And Vegeta is saying this to Goku, and Goku is just kind of standing there looking back at him. And Goku actually asks Whis, and he says, Whis, do you think that we have an overwhelming chance to win the Tournament of Power? And Whis says, I'm not sure, but there is a universe where there's a mortal that even a god of destruction cannot kill. And the god of destruction of that universe is stronger than Beerus. And I was like, holy shit. Okay. So Dragon Ball Super, even now I'm still seeing really ignorant comments of oh, I heard Dragon Ball Super is ending soon. No, it's not. No. There's no end in sight. There's no end at this tunnel as of right now. The show is too popular. They're tossing out a lot of stuff in this arc that they can further like elaborate on later down the line. Personally, I'm just gonna throw out like a small little theory about this fighter that Whis is mentioning. I'm guessing that this is probably a mortal from one of the universes that will not be in the Tournament of Power. And this god of destruction that Whis is talking about is from one of the universes that is not participating in the Tournament of Power, and then that could possibly be a future arc or something along those lines. That's what I think. So Goku jumps up and he uses the teleportation instant transmission to head over to King Yama and ask his permission if they can get Frieza to join the Universe 7. Now, the camera kind of zooms out and we see that there was a spy. Like, it's just a member of a different universe who was kind of down there listening in on their conversation. They were talking, they're talking outside of a Capsule Corporation. They're on like a balcony, and this guy was just listening in to everything they were saying. Now, then it goes right over to the afterlife, and we see Goku explain to King Yama basically everything that's going on with the universes and stuff. What I found interesting was that King Yama himself is not even aware of the other universes. It's only a rumor he has heard. So this is like the 100% proof that I wanted to hear, that even all of the afterlives of the different universes are separate, which I think is pretty interesting. So Goku basically gets King Yama's permission to go get Frieza. Now, King Yama tells Goku that if Frieza gets out of control, make sure to take care of him outside of Earth so I won't have to deal with him anymore. Now, this is really weird because King Yama, isn't his jurisdiction the entire Universe 7? So him telling Goku, take care of Frieza outside of Earth, I mean, I guess it's almost like implied that the hell that Frieza is in is like his own personal holding cell until his spirit is purified. I'm not sure if just because Frieza is killed in a different, planet, he's able to be put in a different type of hell. It's very weird wording that is used here, because obviously Frieza's dead. So if Frieza is killed, again, while dead, his spirit will cease to exist, which obviously won't be a problem for King Yama anymore. But that's not specifically what he says. He specifically mentions, don't let it happen on Earth. But there's not a check-in station for every... It's very weird. There's not a check-in station for every planet. King Yama deals with all of it, doesn't he? It's Dragon Ball Super. Sometimes they close one leak and open up 3 more. Alright, so the next scene here is it goes over to the Universe 6 Saiyans again, and we have Caulifla, Kale, and Kale. And what happens here is that Caulifla is trying to get Kale to turn Super Saiyan by using the tingly back method. And she's being you always see this type of girl in animes, the aggressive girl, always talking loud. I don't really understand Japanese, but she's probably talking rude, the way the certain words you can use. She's probably talking rude and stuff. We've seen this character in a lot of anime. Think almost maybe Anko from, Naruto, stuff like that. And she's trying to push Kale into going Super Saiyan by using the tingly back feeling, that, because I guess now there's 2 official ways to go Super Saiyan. You can do it by anger or push out the tingly feeling in your back, which is a little interesting, but sure, I'm not... We're way too far in Dragon Ball Super to be getting upset about stuff like this. It's just, at this point, it is what it is. Now, Kale tries, but she's not really able to do it. And based on her interactions with Caulifla, you can see that they both really do care about each other. Caulifla, is treating Kale as though she's her cute little sister, her cute protege, that type of thing. And it seems, from what I'm seeing, that Kale really does respect Caulifla. And Kale's trying to use the tingly back method. And we can see already Like, when we saw it with Caulifla, it was, the bright yellowish gold of the Super Saiyan. But while Kale is trying to do it, we can see it's the greenish yellow of Broly's aura. Like, we can already see it here. And what's interesting is that Caulifla and Kabe start kind of like arguing. And of course, it's the playful anime, like almost flirting type arguing. And like, you could see Kale, like, kind of getting upset with this. And this goes on for a little bit until finally, like, Caulifla starts getting super fucking racist here, calling Kale monkey, gorilla, chimpanzee. Caulifla basically decides I'm going to be Frieza and try and insult Kale to get her to transform. And even Kabe tries to do it. But, like, Caulifla and Kabe keep going back and forth trying to insult Kale. And then they're kind of, like, going at each other and stuff. And based on what Kale says later on in the episode, you can see that the trigger for Kale going Super Saiyan is, I don't think it's jealousy that she likes Kabe and she doesn't want Caulifla to be with Kabe because Kale wants to. I think Kale thinks Kabe is like a piece of shit and she thinks that he's not good enough for Caulifla. So Kale gets mad because she's like, no, this motherfucker is not gonna be with Caulifla. And she basically powers through it and she goes Super Saiyan. Which, again, I don't think they're going to be calling this the legendary Super Saiyan. It's probably going to be like Berserker, Super Saiyan, some type of shit like that. But, everyone has been going crazy. Oh, it's not Super Saiyan 2 unless there's the electricity and all that shit. And what's interesting here is that Kale goes into her Super Saiyan form. If you want to call it legendary Super Saiyan, you want to call it Berserker Saiyan, whatever you want to call it, she goes into this and she has electricity. And what's interesting is there's a lot of effects that are very close to when Broly first went Super Saiyan. Like, remember how, like, Broly's legendary form almost kind of exploded out of his body? Like, Kale, we see, like, the energy coming out of her eyes and mouth. Like, again, like it's exploding out of her. This is not, like, there's no coincidence, nothing like that. This is more than a homage to Broly. She literally is fucking Broly. The first thing she does when transformed, she does an iconic Broly pose, bro. Like, there's nothing you can say. She is literally just going to be the quote-unquote canon version of Broly. They wanted to get Broly into Dragon Ball Super, but Broly obviously is not canon. So boom, they're just going to create Kale as a character, as a vessel to do this. So Kale does that iconic Broly pose where she's kind of like holding her hand out, and then she's like, yeah, Kabe, time to kill you, motherfucker. Then the scene cuts over. That spy that we saw, that was kind of sneaking around, looking at Goku and the others, he begins talking to, it's like Katera. It's the god of destruction of Universe 4. And he actually is told all of the info about how they're going to be resurrecting this, evil Emperor Frieza and stuff. And it looks like this dude Katera is going to come up with some plan to try and fuck with Beerus and Universe 7. Now, the next scene skips over to Goku arriving in Earth's hell, or Frieza's personal hell, whatever it is you want to call it. He was driven over by one of, like, King Yama's little ogre attendants. I really like this little touch. A nice little callback to when an ogre drove Goku to Snake Way, and now we get to see this happen again. And it's great, because Goku gets out and he's like, this is Frieza's hell, huh? It's a really nice place. And I was just like, yo, man, that is good shit. Now, what I thought was interesting is that Goku walks up to Frieza and he's like, yo! And Frieza, like, I would have thought Frieza would be like, oh, you fucking monkey, cursing out every racist bullshit Frieza come up with, being surprised. But, like, Frieza is just like, oh, how's it going? What are you doing here? It's just very, like, Frieza, was Frieza expecting Goku to show up? Because Frieza is very calm throughout this whole thing. He's just like, oh, how's it going? What are you doing here? I was like, bruh, like, is there something else going behind the scenes here? Certainly not, right? I don't know. But regardless, Goku and Frieza then begin the, bargaining. And Goku kind of explains to Frieza, like, for 24 hours, how would you like to get the fuck out of here? And I love it, because Frieza's like, you're plotting something, aren't you? And Goku's like, yep, pretty much. And I was like, yo! Masako Nozawa, anytime she has to put on the serious Goku voice, she is just so perfect. Like, serious Masako Nozawa, like, I cannot praise her enough. Like, when it's time for serious Goku to come out, something about it, she just gets me so fucking hyped, man. I was on the edge of my seat during this scene, like, yo, this is good. Now, it cuts back over to the Universe 6 Saiyans, and, like, this was a really great scene, and I've got to say, I thought the way this was drawn, I really liked it. Now, I saw a couple preview pictures of this, like this sequence of scenes. They were leaked last night, and that was how I knew for sure that Caulifla was going to go Super Saiyan 2, 100% for sure, because it showed her with the aura, with the electricity, all of that. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter who I follow who know their shit. Like, I follow some people who really know what they're talking about with animation. A lot of them were less than impressed with a couple of these shots. And I certainly am going to... They're more knowledgeable on, like, the animation aspect and stuff. So I respect their opinions a lot. And there was a couple things about, like, some of these shots that they weren't pleased with. I personally thought it was okay. But, if, like... I'm trying to think of how to properly phrase this. But, like, if they're less than impressed, then they're probably correct over me. Like, they know what they're talking about with animation and movements and, just how well the drawings were. So, I'm curious what you guys think. Did you like the animations, the movements, how things were drawn in a couple of these shots with Caulifla, Kale, and Kale all fighting and stuff? I know in that iconic Broly shot that Kale does do, if you look at her middle finger, it looks like it's broken or it's too long. It looks weird. There's a couple of things, and, like, the mountains look a little PS2-ish in certain scenes. But overall, I loved it. This is not the bullshit, Resurrection F Frieza arc or anything. Myself, if this is how Dragon Ball Super is going to look for the majority of the show, I am so fucking down. Down for that. I dug this scene. I dug the way it looked a lot. Now, Caulifla is, like, busting nuts over how impressive Kale is with her power, how strong it is. And, like, Kale is, like, flying at Kale, trying to kill him. And Caulifla's like, motherfucker, what did you do? And Kabe's like, bitch, I didn't do anything. And it's great, because Kale goes Super Saiyan, and he goes head up with Kale. And, like, she just bodies him. And she does this technique where, like, she kind of, like, explodes this, like, orb out of her, and it, like, hits Kale, blows him the fuck away. Again, Kale absolutely bodies Kale. And, of course, because Toei, they're trolls, they had to have Kale be like, oh, energy's increasing, it's overflowing, and I'm like, here we go. Yes, please, let's toss some of Broly's dialogue in here. That's what we need. That's definitely what we need. And she powers up a blast. Again, she basically is using straight up Broly's attacks. And Caulifla, the camera zooms in on Caulifla and she's like, oh shit, that's trouble. Kabe's not going to survive that. So Caulifla actually powers up and races in to go knock the blast away. Because Kale, again, Kale, like, kind of exploded this orb. It hit Kale. It knocked him out of Super Saiyan and sent him way back. Like, he's smoking and everything. And he looks up, like, he kind of stops himself and looks up. And this blast that Kale shot is coming right at him. And Caulifla, she powers up, goes Super Saiyan 2. The electricity is everywhere. Her hair very visibly sparks, like, points upward. There's no doubt you cannot say this is not Super Saiyan 2. And for all those people who were so upset, it's bullshit, they're cheapening everything, now she's Super Saiyan 2, I thought myself, I thought this was a good scene demonstrating why she went Super Saiyan 2. She needed to do this because I don't think Super Saiyan 1 Caulifla would have been able to stop Kale's energy blast here, but Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla was able to deflect it and save Cabe. Now, let's be real here, okay? We're watching an anime. So we see Caulifla is going to end up being very tsundere, all right? She's going to be in Cabe's face, talking that shit to him, screaming at him, insulting him. But you know what? Caulifla wants to fuck Cabe, all right? I'm telling you right now, Caulifla wants Cabe's dick. Remember this. So, I think Caulifla, maybe she won't admit it even to herself, but she knows she wants Cabe's dick. And she sees Cabe about to be killed. And she says, nah, bruh. Super Saiyan 2, you're not killing my man. And she knocks the blast away. Again, I have no problem with it. Because again, if Android 17 is able to fight Super Saiyan Blue Goku, even though he's holding back, Krillin is able to have a key clash with Goku, again, even though he's holding back, then we can't get upset about every little thing. You know, Caulifla and these cats, they need to be able to fight Universe 7. Or is anyone going to be really happy if the Tournament of Power starts and Goku and Vegeta body everyone in seconds like they did in the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament? Fuck no, that's not what people want. We want to see real fighting. So I have no problem whatsoever with anything that's happened. We understand what's taking place here. Now, after Caulifla knocks the blast away, she kind of is like, Kale, come on. I am not so cheap that I'd fall for someone like this. And Cabe looks so shocked. And then Kale kind of is like, stunned. And Caulifla's like, damn, you are amazing. You're definitely my protege. That's my protege for you. And Kale kind of like reverts back to base. And Caulifla goes and catches her. And Cabe's like, well, I guess we we found another member. And it's like, wow, that shit was really good. And by the way, this very last shot of Caulifla holding Kale, and you look at her fucking hair, she straight up has Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's hair. So again, people, remember in the future, when you see one frame of the shot and say, listen, she's not Super Saiyan 2, obviously she doesn't have the electricity. Remember, we saw one frame, okay? What I said happened, which was Caulifla had electricity just before that shot we saw in the preview. She didn't have electricity after, but she had already had electricity. She was clearly Super Saiyan 2. I was hyped by this episode. This episode was really good. And everything is good right now for Dragon Ball Super. This episode has got me all in. I'm all in right now. So I am completely exposed for Dragon Ball Super to fuck up in the Tournament of Power and really get me mad again. Because again, Dragon Ball Super has spread me wide open. Pause. All right? It's just it happened. I'm sucked all in. I'm all in for Dragon Ball Super. So now they can fuck up after I've dropped my guard. We'll see if it happens. We'll see. Because it happened before. Trunks goes Super Saiyan Rage. Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Now they fused into Fusion Zamasu. Bro, this is the best shit ever. And then they fucked up. Hopefully they don't do that again. So the scene cuts back over to Goku and Frieza. And in the meantime, Goku explained everything to Frieza already. And it's great because Frieza's like, the Tournament of Power, if I refuse, would that be a problem? And Goku's like, a little bit. So Frieza gets all cocky and he's like, alright, I refuse then. And I fucking died right here. This was great. Frieza goes, alright, I refuse. And Goku just turns around, waves at Frieza and goes, okay, bye. And Frieza is like, oh, wait, no, wait, I was joking. I was like, yo, Goku, come on. What the fuck? This is Dragon Ball Z Goku. This is how Goku was in this whole scene right here is Dragon Ball Z Goku again, all right? Dragon Ball Super Goku is mentally retarded. I don't know what the fuck they did, but randomly, they brought back Goku how he was in Dragon Ball Z in this episode. I loved it. Goku completely plays Frieza, in my opinion. Now, we'll see what happens later on. But based off of anything that happened here, Goku mentally crushed Frieza. Already, Goku had all of the power as soon as this happened. Goku's like, oh, All right, peace then, bitch. And then Frieza has to get down on his hands and knees and beg. Wait, no, I was joking. Look at that. Goku. Come on, Goku. That was pretty damn good. So then we get into, Frieza's condition. And Frieza's like, all right, so after 24 hours, I come back here, right? And Goku's like, don't get picky now. And Frieza says, all right, if we win the tournament and this universe remains, I want the Dragon Balls to be used to resurrect me. And Goku, again, Masako Nozawa, so good. Goku's just kind of like, do you really think that you can, you can make these terms to me right now? And Frieza, very clever, Frieza goes golden form and says, like, do you really think this is the limits of my power? And kind of implies, like, I can get a lot stronger. Aren't you curious about my evolution and what more greater heights I can get to? I was hoping to fight you again. And Goku is like, oh, you bastard. You're using my weakness on me. And Frieza is kind of like laughing. So Goku says, the best warrior wins the Super Dragon Balls and they can make a wish. Like, so I guess he's saying that, like, the warrior who does the best, puts on the most impressive performance in the tournament itself, gets the Dragon Balls. I'm going to want clarification on this later. I'm sure we'll get it. But Goku basically says, do that. Be the best warrior, get the Dragon Balls, and wish her back yourself. And Frieza says, well, if the team wins, I'm not guaranteed resurrection. That won't do. Just the Earth's Dragon Balls will do. Now, this was interesting. So, Goku's immediate reaction to Frieza saying the Earth's Dragon Balls is, so you'll enter the tournament then. And Frieza agrees if you'll promise that I can use the Earth's Dragon Balls. And Goku's like, yeah, I promise, sure. But it'll take a little while to gather them. Now let me pause right here. I'm sure most people caught this. But in case you didn't, let me tell you what happened here. If you guys remember, the Earth's Dragon Balls have a restriction on them. This restriction being that you can only make that wish one time. So Frieza was already resurrected with Earth's Dragon Balls. He cannot be resurrected with Earth's Dragon Balls again. So Frieza is unaware of this. Goku is aware of this. So Goku inside is smiling like, yeah, okay, motherfucker. You can have the Earth's Dragon Balls, but you're not going to be able to be resurrected. So what's going to happen here is they might win the Tournament of Power. Frieza will get the Earth's Dragon Balls, but he's not going to be able to wish himself back. It's just not going to happen like that. So Goku really, really played Frieza here. Now, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, Frieza is thinking he's going to be able to use the Earth's Dragon Balls to wish himself back, and it's not going to work that way. And the last thing before Goku leaves is Frieza's like, will I be able to kill in this tournament? And Goku's like, no, absolutely not. And Frieza's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just have to endure then. And it's like, oh, boy. All right. So I was pretty salty when I first heard about, Frieza being revived. But, man, I don't know. They're starting to win me over. They're doing this in a very clever way. They gave us a very good scene between Goku and Frieza. Man, I don't know. So far, I don't have a lot of complaints about this. This was pretty good. So then the next thing that happens is the scene immediately cuts to Goku at fortune teller Baba's place. And it's cool. He's actually at her palace from, back early on in Dragon Ball when Goku and the gang first went there. And she agrees that she will, resurrect Frieza for 24 hours. And King Yama had already told her. But she asks Goku for a gift. And Goku's like, oh, I got just the thing. This button will allow you to contact a really important guy named Zeno-sama. Here, you can have it. And Baba's like, fuck that. That is way too dangerous. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So Goku flies away and promises that he'll bring Baba something. Now, the very last scene before the episode ends is we go back to the Universe 4 God of Destruction, where he gets told the full story about Frieza being revived. And he says he has the perfect idea to crush Universe 7. And then the very last shot, the camera zooms in on the Universe 4 God of Destruction. And he's like, sorry, Beerus, you're going to have to disappear. So obviously, looks like this God of Destruction here has some sort of plan to fuck with Frieza and Goku and Beerus and all of them. We'll find out next time. Regardless, holy shit, was this a really good episode. Damn!